Noon or good morning or whatever. This is Edward back with another video. And you may hear me kind of fade in and out. Don't worry about that. It'll be all right. We'll make it work. I'm kind of straightening something out while we're dealing with this. So, what's up, everybody? Let y'all filter in here a little bit. I'm going to be doing a couple of videos. I'm going to keep it real. These are like when I should do uploads. But I'm going to do a couple of videos on this Kevin Samuels. I'm sure other people are going to too. And quite frankly, I'm curious as to what O'Shea has to say, Obsidian has to say, because when you hear, what's up, Pharaoh? When you hear a lot of dudes, and I'm going to keep it real with you. When you hear, it's a couple of angles I could go with this. I'll cover what some of the future angles are going to be. But when you hear a lot of dudes that dismiss, what I say about the gynocracy, and you know who you are, and y'all talk about what it's really about this, it's really about that, and that's gonna solve everything, you all are fucking wrong. It's pretty much you all saying, and I'm gonna say it just as serious, is the black community has cancer or tumors, and y'all say, well, if you just eat right, tumors will just magically go away. You're gonna cost somebody their life. And there's always these like angles as to why these dudes think this way. And quite frankly, because the shit don't impact them personally as much as it does others. Now me, like I said before, I don't need something to directly impact me for me to recognize it as a problem. Sam, I am. Appreciate the $5 super chat. But a lot of y'all niggas, shit gotta bite you in the ass in order for you to recognize something is a problem. But anyway, that's not what this is about. So, while I'm gonna say some of the angles that I'm gonna cover in next week. Shout out to Kevin. Kevin is like I think 2,000 away from 700,000. So those podcasts are really starting to catch up with him. The ones that he did. So kudos to him. Hold on one second. Kudos to him. So that's definitely good. And it's about the message. It's about the message. Because because the bigger that stock rises, the harder it is going to be to deny shit. Because again, these are in the women their own words. These are in their own words. They're in their own words. Like when you ask them shit like, I'm a 10. Like anybody looking at that, and I love that there's other races of people that watch Kevin shit. First thing a lot of black people will say is, well, you airing out our business. To people that would say that, fuck you, kick rock, stop being a child. It wouldn't need to be aired the fuck out if it wasn't a problem to begin with. So anybody that says that, they don't have the strength to actually, as Zemo says, see the shit through. They want to protect they look good. Meaning they want the house could be on fire inside, the children in there burning, but they don't give no fucks. They give no fucks at all. What they care about is their look good. And people like that don't have the strength to solve the problem. So that's one topic. Another topic is you got a lot of dudes in the comment section that are saying how it stunk. That shit has 5,000 comments, and that show ended. What time is 11 o'clock? That show ended 13 hours ago, and it's got 5,000 comments. And that's a show where he did about 23,000. So that show definitely bothered a lot of people. It bothered a lot of people. It bothered a lot of men, and there's some women in there it bothered too. And this is like what progress looks like. Progress is painful. Progress is brutal. A lot of the progress in the black community is going to look like that Dark Knight shit. It really is. Maybe Kevin is Batman. I'm not the hero you want, but I'm the hero you deserve. I'm the hero you need. And what you have is a lot of folks, these wannabe Harvey Dents, these two-faced black men that, they don't really care about being healthy. They care about looking healthy. They don't care about actually being healthy. They don't care about quality of life. And this stuff comes back to black men. So so another topic I'm gonna cover too is like all these black men that are stung. I think of people like BMT, not Black Males Travels, but Joseph, when he tries to say shit like, you know, shout out to Aisha, the therapist, and 24-year-old chick set it off. But it was set off. It was set off before that though. They're not the only ones that set it off. They just dunked the ball, but they didn't do the alley oop. Like the initial chick was the one that set it off with all her pushback on smiling, and then this argument about trauma and the deep thought. So everybody contributed to it a little bit. You even had I think she was, Caribbean. She's married and she's talking about the problem with high value men. And here's the problem. Well, not high value men, but the concept, which is something that the brothers have said. But the thing about it is, all y'all niggas, like the thing that kills me about black people, and I've criticized a lot of dudes. I've criticized a lot of, Nate, like black. Look, I'm not trying to take away, because there's some things y'all say that have some points. I'm not going to say everything y'all say is like on some flat earther shit, but the black Native American theorists, I'm going to call that, they like to lean on other people's shit. So they used to come into like other people's spaces, whether it's the Hotep space, and they would try to infiltrate. And I'm like, look, y'all can create y'all own channels based on, y'all thought processes. Y'all have a right to do that. But it's like they didn't want to do that. What they want, and a lot of people do this shit. What they try to do is they try to infiltrate. Look, there's a difference between promoting your school of thought and then you trying to merge and make other people's school of thought like your school of thought. And that's some lazy shit. Number one, that's not effective if you ain't really building shit on your own as far as like technology bases and stuff, like as far as knowledge centers. But number two, that's some lazy shit. And I remember I used to call that out a lot. I used to call that shit out a lot. And what you have is kind of the same thing going on where, yeah. So you have people trying to merge. Well, you have the same thing going on with people that want to say, they want to criticize Kevin. And I'm not saying everybody don't have a channel, but then you ask, okay, where's your channel? It's like nowhere to be found. They don't, and Kevin told that chick that was married, it's like, you're married. Well, I think if you have these opinions, it's nothing to create a YouTube channel. Like, one of the reasons why I like to do what I do is understand that, the way my channel is, and obviously my channel could be a lot better as far as putting it together. We'll deal with that later. As far as putting it together, the reality is it shows that all you need really is a cell phone. A cell phone, I'm using YouTube. Technically, if I wanted to use StreamYard, I can use StreamYard from my phone now. There is no excuse anymore. Like, you can use StreamYard from your phone or your tablet. You can get a Kindle or, go to the pawn shop, get you a tablet. Hell, you got Clubhouse now. You got a whole app now. I hear that's invite only. That won't always be that way. If you want to do a room, you got StreamYard. It's so many push button. It's push button. It's push button. That's what StreamYard did. It's push button. It's push button now. But you have people as to what they want to do is they want to get on other people's shit. And they want to basically promote their shit. It's not even promoting their shit. What they want to do is they want to promote their ideology and say, you need to listen to me. But I'm like, okay, well then you need to make your case on your shit. Shout out to Lil Big Nate that does that and other people that do that. But going back to BMT, You have these dudes, because this is really what I really want to hammer home. There's two things I really want to talk about right now. And you got, like, BMT really sat, that shit didn't sit right with me. He want to talk about he's just a debater. And I know there's a difference between debating and you throwing the fucking kitchen sink at somebody. Well, he tried to hold the manosphere accountable to, like, suicide and shit. That's a dick move. That really is. Because number one, nobody had like this. Nobody, you can't blame one aspect of your the environment you choose to engage in as a reason for when people do that shit. At the end of the day, YouTube is some shit they turn on. Like the shit that they live that they can't get away from, like a wife or like all that other shit, that's the shit that really drives a lot of motherfuckers over the edge. This idea that people choose to listen to something and they don't, and that chooses to drive, that's bullshit, because that's a choice. That's a choice. It really is. And the reason why I wanted to bring that up is because you see, like Kevin, let's be clear here. Kevin is for black marriage. Kevin has been married 3 times. He said that it's not completely out of the question that he would definitely consider getting married again. So you can't apply the shit Kevin Samuels talks about to like the manosphere in that way. He always is telling people to get therapy. You can't apply that in that way. Like Kevin is definitely on the productive side when it comes to this space. Yet, if you look at all the people that are the dudes, how many dudes are talking about that stung, that hurt? Not even so much disbelief, but having that shit put in their face. You remember what I told you all. Black men just don't want it in their face. And we have reached a point where black women don't care. They want to let you know they run your ass. They want to let you know they run your ass. We are in the point. This is what fourth wave feminism is going to look like too, by the way. There is not going to be some, there's not gonna be some like when the women like Danica Marie or the Six Goddess where they know how to put up to a certain extent a front and be comfortable with that. Those days are over. These women are going to wear their anger and quite frankly their hatred, because a lot of it comes back to self-hatred. They hate themselves, so everything negative about negative thought they have been taught to view a black man in that. In their mind, whether a black man was there or not there. And they're gonna let you know. You had two 24-year-olds make the argument as far as why they shouldn't have to smile to black men. And really the arguments they were trying to make was a feminist argument. It's an argument that they got from white women that white women don't even buy into that shit. And what they tried to do essentially is try to make it sound like, and they didn't do a good job articulating this, but I know this is what they were doing. They were trying to make it seem like, oh, well, that's a part of a black male patriarchy. Like, oh, black men have no right to ask me to smile. But see, these will be the same women, these will be the same people that would say that, why don't black men approach me? Think about it. Think about that TikTok girl on TikTok and what she said. And she said, well, that dude don't even look like he deal with black girls. Well, of course, because of you all's reputation. But see, now it's our fault they have that reputation. Oh, I believe black men just don't understand me. But when they get mad, they tell the truth. We're free from y'all. Why would we want to deal with you all? And see, the thing is, they know they're wrong. They know they're full of shit. And they know, and I won't even say that. I won't say that. What they know is that there's kinetic consequences. If these dudes, they know these dudes are all they got, number one. And number two, they know these dudes are all they got. But still, they can't get over that arrogance. They just can't get over it. So anyway, let's jump right into it. Let's not fuck around. It's 14 minutes in. So let's talk about the dudes. So you had a lot of dudes in there talking about how it stung and all of this and blah, 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 blah. And they were upset. My thing is, and the reason why I brought up BMT is for a reason. I'm going to tell you the truth. If this stuff affects your mental health, you need to stop listening. I'm telling you that. YouTube is a public space. And if you choose to engage in it, you choose to engage in it at your own risk. I can be empathetic about it, but at the end of the fucking day, YouTube is no different than you going into a bar. Dudes, I'm like, as much as people are censored on internet as it is, especially YouTube, this idea that people have to sit here and think about, well, I'm gonna lie. Because that's essentially what you all are saying. I'm gonna choose to act like the problem isn't the problem because you have certain people that because black, because I'm gonna keep it real, the real problem is more so black people not seeking therapy and black people, I understand the history behind racism and all that with the doctor shit, but black people not being medicated. And I'm gonna tell you the truth, I have my aunt it has dementia. I deal with that all the time as far as my aunt and my mom, and I see how taxing it is on my mom to deal with my aunt. And quite frankly, my vote was to leave my aunt in there for the rest of her days in the mental institution in California. But because my mom was so forceful about it, I ended up helping to pay her way out. And I see that like that shit is not addressed. That will literally shave the years off of my own mom. And my aunt has always been nutty like that. And I could blame the black church for basically exacerbating that, but at the end of the day, she was always like that. That was just the outlet. And so I deal with mental health in a very real way. That's why a lot of y'all was laughing about that handicap sticker. That's where the fuck I got it from. Like a year ago, that's where the fuck why the fuck I have one. It's because of her. So I'm very much aware of mental health in a lot more of a real way than a lot of y'all that talk that shit. And not only the person, but how that impacts people. And I'm not saying nobody hasn't been through nothing, but this idea that I just don't know, that's bullshit. And the reality of the situation is, it's amazing because I'm going back to thinking of what that dude said on the Joe Budden podcast about how black women getting in the mud. It's amazing how people want to talk about how strong black women are. Yet when it comes to having these conversations, black people just lose their fucking mind. Their ability to have it is just not there. It's seen as you're harming people. Well, then you're telling me they're not strong, they're weak. Y'all just like to say that shit because that shit sounds good. Because if y'all got this getting out of the mud mentality where I'm gonna fucking need you all to fucking exercise that shit when we're having a conversation, a tough conversation that needs to be had. That's what I'm gonna need to happen. It can't be no, I get it out the fucking mud one day and then the next day all these chicks are fragile as fuck. When Kevin every day proves they're not fragile like that. And a lot of dudes want to give them an out. And this is really on the men right now. Remember, I did a video talking about holding men accountable. Men need to be accountable to the fact that you all always look for ways to let women off the hook to have tough conversations. You all sell your daughters to a life of being really fucked up. Like all these Z's, the shit that these Z's are going to have to deal with these females is a direct result of the inability of black men to really have these tough conversations or basically let black women know in no uncertain terms what the fucking deal is. What we tend to do is we do like what the America does with the budget. We're going to have this conversation for another day. Or we're going to find a way to escape the conversation because I want pussy. Or I don't want her to be mad at me. Or whatever bullshit you tell yourself as a mechanism of, like, whether it's individual, but we do it as a group. This is on you. It ain't about leaving the home. Black men should have held a stand. When black men started getting pushed out of the home, black men should have held a stand there. It didn't happen. But you know what? Millennials ain't got no cause to say nothing to Xers or baby boomers, because millennials, especially like 3/4 of millennials do the same shit. You think Haziz and the motherfuckers from the roommates and all that ain't a reflection of how y'all really act? Ain't nobody really trying to deal with this shit, not in a real way. And people would say, "Oh, well, the dudes quit the black community." Well, y'all quit the black community too by just staying in there and cucking yourselves. That's essentially what happens. Because these conversations there's no way out of this shit. The only way out, death is the only way out. And when I say that, I mean the community being annihilated. You're either there. That's your option to deal with it, or it's over. Oh wow. Deal with it or it's over. There's not going to be no, well, I hope God saves me or somebody saves me. That's not happening. This is real fucking life. That's not going to happen. So a lot of you niggas that are hurt, that you can't stand it, well, welcome to the reality. Welcome to the valley of the fucking real. Where your women can't fucking stand you, that everything that they hate about themselves, they blame you. As a collective group. Let's cut the bullshit about a couple of black women here and there. This bullshit about belief. Because niggas love believing in black love. That's why women love saying it. Let's cut the bullshit. So what are y'all gonna do? Y'all gonna cry? Y'all gonna go into a depression? Because y'all just can't handle the fact y'all look at these women like you're fucking mothers. Which you're fucking stupid. I mean, and it's funny. All these niggas understand that why are black women not smiling? Well, it's because of the trauma. But y'all heard what I said about the trauma. I want another crack at that bad. Because I don't want to just start talking shit. I really don't. I want to really address that. So this trauma, I won't call it a myth, but what I will call it is it's a smokescreen. First of all, if you really had trauma, you wouldn't act like you can't say you have trauma, yet you act a certain way towards only one demographic. What are the demographics? Religion, race, gender, age, and location. Those are the 5 demographics. That's not trauma. What you all are doing is called prejudice. What you all are doing, let me tell, I want you as black women, and I want you all that's hearing, was really listening, the dudes that's hearing me. I want you all to tell, the next time a black woman tells you about trauma, tell me, you know what that sounds like? That eerily sounds like when a white cop shoots a black man, when they say they were in fear. That's what that sounds like. That sounds like they're saying they were in trauma and them having a gun. You know, how they thought it was a taser, but it was a gun. The women say I was in fear. That's a fear is a form of trauma. It's a trauma state, so to speak. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a nigga having an opinion. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt as far as like words. But that's what that sounds like. Trayvon Martin. I saw the dude, you know what I'm talking about. Dude that killed him. I'm in trauma. I see this black man in a hoodie, this fear image, and I just don't know how to act. So I just lost my mind. This is what that sounds like. And so when you have black women talking about I'm in deep thought, or when I see black men, I'm like, you all really act like we don't understand you. We see you smiling in front of non-black men. And that's not just black women that want to have sex with non-black men. You all act completely different around non-black men. You only do this for the most part with us. Is that everyone? No. But most of the ones that have this problem, they only have it with black men. They don't go to work and do this. They don't. And Kevin brought that up, and they had really no answer for it. The therapist said, that's fair. No, you're not going to say that's fair, because that's just code for, that's fair, but I feel like. Fuck that. That's fair? Okay, so what do we do about all of your that's fairs? What the fuck do we do about those? Because that's you saying that's true. But when you actually made her, she couldn't say that's fair to that last one about belonging. And see where she really fucked up. This is where she really fucked up, right? Where she really fucked up was when I'm like, damn, you didn't even make the case. Like, she didn't even try to say, well, Asian women hop more than anybody. One woman tried to say that, and Kevin said and white men and do it more, like more than anybody else. But my point is, um, because it's not about betraying their women, it's about power, and that's what black women don't understand because black women want to be a man, and they're so and see anyway. But she didn't even try. She basically she didn't even say that. What she basically said, Asian women belong to Asian men, definitely. She gave a definite to that. She gave a yes to white. You could what she fucked up in is you can clearly see um that she knows the difference. And that's like the most damning. That's what makes that shit the most painful for these niggas. Is that she's just not running off at the mouth. Number one, she's a licensed therapist. But number two, she actually can tell the difference between how like as a collective group. Now you had one white dude in the comment section talking about, well, white men don't belong to white women don't belong to white men. Shut the fuck up. Trump is absolute proof that that's not true when it really comes down to it. They make like one white dude. It's like shut up. I hate the contrarian the dudes that they want to take the exception and try to make it the rule. Appreciate the $5 super chat, Justin March. Good man. Hey Ed, suggestion you gonna address the video Kev will talk about on his last live the Three Ladies podcast on JB Network talking about high value men. You're gonna have to put the link into that because I didn't see that. But my point I don't know if I am, but definitely put the link in. I'll take a look at it. But my overall point to this is these dudes are really hurt and real. It's like I just can't believe this. I'm like, that's your fucking fault. You see it every day. You just choose to pretend like that's not what the fuck is going on. And quite frankly, I have no sympathy for dudes like that. And I want to say this, and I mean this shit. If you're somebody and you know you struggle with mental health, you struggle with depression, and you choose not to get help, I don't know what to tell you, man. Life is hard. Life fucking sucks. And the reality of the fucking situation is everybody has their shit. Like, that just is what it is. And so if you choose, that is a choice. That is nobody's obligation. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to tell you something else about mental health. Like, we can't make, like, my, I can't make her take her medication. They can't make her do shit. The law can't, that committing shit, it, like, in the state of North Carolina, you can't do that shit. Not like that. Now, not like in the ways that you all think. You can't just make people do shit. Like y'all see on TV and shit. Like, you can commit them, but you can't, like, make them take shit. You can get a magistrate and all that. Yeah, you can still do that, but you can't make people take medication and shit. You can't. Legally, you can't. So this idea that, well, motherfuckers are just gonna get help. No, you have to do your part. And it's your life, and that's on you. And I'm not, and people are gonna take this and be like, I'm being unempathetic. Man, y'all can kiss my ass with that shit. Because y'all really can. Like y'all really can. That's what I'm gonna say to that. My thing is, y'all really can. Cause that's just some bullshit. So y'all don't, just like how that's just some bullshit. So people don't have to address the situation, or that's that little politicking that people want to do to try to get the manosphere to talk about what the fuck they want to talk about. That's all that shit is. And I completely refute that bullshit. The reality of the situation is, I don't give a flying fuck how fucking brutally painful it is. I will bring this goddamn truth out, even if it costs some people some shit. Like, that is how serious I am about that. And if you can't handle it, turn the shit off. And if you don't know how to do that, well, then Darwinism's gonna do what the fuck it does. It just is. And I understand that black men got it the worst more than anybody else. But at the end of the day, what I will not do is, what motherfuckers will not do is say that, why didn't you say anything? Why didn't you say it was this bad? I'm not doing that. Motherfuckers can turn this shit off. Remember what I told y'all where that shit kind of affected me with that female that's like 40 something years old, looking like her whole life is ahead of her and she don't understand that she's absolutely fucked. When Jason Black was doing that, what did I do? I turned it off and regathered myself. I turned it off. What did Kevin do? After he got done talking to that therapist wasn't like a bitch or anything. She was actually a nice person. She was just, on some bullshit. That was actually one of the more pleasant calls. It was just a heavy topic. And quite frankly, I thank her for not really having this overly emotional bullshit. And I'll give her that as somebody from a therapist. She couldn't be honest, but she definitely didn't like try to make herself seem like a victim. So I would definitely give her that because I think that helped for it to really sink in because people couldn't really act like, oh, it was just some a black woman getting triggered. So I'll give her all that kind of credit in the world. But Kevin was right. Kevin said it. He said that a lot of trauma that black men go through is caused by black women. And if you really look at a lot of trauma, like we said, bringing that white man in my house. And to be honest with you, a lot of trauma indirectly, shout out to King Sigma and all of them talk about a lot of the motherfuckers locking us up. The handmaidens of the justice system are black women. Most black women don't go to black women do not either go be a lawyer for corporate law or prosecution. They rarely go to be a lawyer for defense. So most of these niggas that these women want to talk about, like these alphas that they want to say are getting locked up, these are black women locking their ass up. And understand that black men are more in jail in the United States or prison, not jail. We're just talking prison. They're more in prison in the United States than all women on the planet with 40,000 people to spare. There are less women on the planet in prison than there are black men in jail. That should tell you everything. But you got these women talking about these women talk about trauma. Remember, you're talking about 24-year-old bitches, and I'ma say it just like that. Talking about trauma. Bitch, if you don't shut the fuck up, their idea of trauma is the dude that they wanted to fuck, didn't want to fuck them, or they got pumped and dumped. That's their idea of trauma. Puppy love gone wrong is their idea of trauma. Do you understand that by that definition, I have caused quite a few black women trauma? I know black women that they couldn't even look at me straight because they liked me and I didn't like them. In fact, there's a woman. She has lupus, and she was attractive, but she had this thing about, I'm fun size, and she really pissed me off for trying to play that because I'm short, she's short, we need to be short together bullshit. That is some shit that that is not the way to talk to me. It's just not. It's just not. But and she was older than me too. She was older than me, like she's like 5 years. She was 5 years older than me. So I was 24. She was like 29. And we worked together. This is like the closest person I really considered probably dating at the job. Cause she wasn't in like a higher operational position. Anyway, I'm not gonna describe it. Long story short is that I started talking to her, and then I just cut it off, and when I cold turkey, and when I do that, I don't just I don't give you an explanation. It's just over. And she got mad as fuck. Like it was for a while. She couldn't look at me for like probably 4 months. She could not look at me. She was that fucking hurt. And I didn't even gas her up like that. It was like just starting up. But the thing is, the truth is, she got big too. She didn't get fat, bitch. She didn't get fat. Like a lot of y'all niggas would be like, that's it, I would still hit. But nah, she got like bigger. And see, the thing is, she's like 4'11" or 5 foot. So when you're that height, any little thing. See, what a lot of y'all don't understand is when you gain weight like that, it's not just it makes your titties look smaller. It makes your ass look small. Like all that shit starts getting affected. Like a lot of y'all be thinking these chicks be gaining assets just because they that's not true. That actually works against you depending on how your body type is. And a lot why y'all niggas ain't thinking. A lot of these chicks, just like how they say when you gain weight, you know, you're sometimes you're like they say if you want to get a bigger dick, the first thing is lose weight. Because you know that's what they'll try to say because they'll say like fat covers a lot of shit up. And it can that can work that way for women, and I'll just turn it off. And it was on top of that, it didn't work. See, by that definition, I caused her trauma. By that definition of trauma, you got a lot of chicks that they're fucking fragile as fuck. And my thing is, I gotta hear that black women are strong, independent, getting the mud, all this from these dumbass niggas. And then I gotta also tolerate the fact that oh, these hoes are fragile because they deal with a lot in life. Black women do not deal with as much as they like to act like they do. They really don't. Like they really fucking don't. Like black women do not deal with nothing compared to what black men got to deal with on a daily basis. Black women might as well be pretty much white men talking about all the like broke ass white dudes talking about all the shit they go through. 85% of what black women deal with is basically self-inflicted. That's real fucking talk. It's self-inflicted or it's some shit that your mama set your ass up on because your mama didn't choose a dad for you. She gave more of a fuck at getting his sperm than actually giving you a father. And so when people talk about it, so that's the first thing, this trauma bullshit. And black men, that's on y'all because we have allowed black women to kind of accept that excuse. As far as I'm concerned, if all y'all SYSBM niggas, all you niggas that don't, shame vicious, this to you too, all of y'all that date out, it's time to start saying, I don't date black women because they have too much trauma. That needs to be the official reason why black men date out. Don't do the colorism shit. Don't do the fuck the attitude. Fuck the attitude. No. Even if that's true. No. The official position is black women have too much trauma. I can't date black women. They have too much trauma. Can't date them. Why don't you date like black girls? They have too much trauma. What the fuck does that mean? I don't know. You tell me. You know, when they have attitudes, they keep saying they're in trauma. They say, well, why do you have an attitude with me? Because they're in trauma. So I want them to, I'm open to dating black women, but they're gonna have to, that needs to be code for fix your fucking attitude, fix your fucking trauma. I'm dead ass serious. That shit. I don't give a fuck if you don't like black women and if you hate black women. I don't give a fuck. Xanatos, not saying that that's Xanatos clutch. Xanatos, Solo, why do you like light girl? They have less trauma. Latin women, they have some trauma, but they know how to keep that shit in check unless I do something to piss them off. I can live with that. I can live with catching the black girl attitude when I fuck up. Or the Latin flamethrower when I fuck up. I can live with that. I can take those hits. If I step on the landmine and I get flamed, I can accept that. And that's generally the rules when you're dealing with a Latin chick. They'll cut your ass out like a black woman, but usually you got to do something. Like they really got to catch you, and you doing that. I can deal with that. I can deal with that kind of trauma. I can't deal with the you can't smile at me bullshit because you in that kind of trauma. I can't deal with. I'm not gonna handle. Well, you can't handle a black woman. You damn right, and I'm not. You damn right. I can't handle because my definition of handling is something that will get me in jail. So no. Nope. I can't. And that's another thing black men need to start doing. Nope. I can't handle it. So y'all need to go ahead and get you a Brad, Chad, and Enrique. Maybe they can handle your ass. Now we know how they handle y'all. We know how that's done. We know how that's done. That's what black men need to start saying. And it ain't even about, and when I say start saying it, I'm not even talking about, y'all need to just start telling random bitches. I know. If a woman asks you, you tell her. Don't volunteer it. Because as Xanatos Clutch would say, and I've heard Southern Black say this too, indifference. Be like, look, but this thing about black men looking for black women, like a lot of them niggas are hurt because them niggas are looking at these chicks like they're their mothers, and that is your fault. That you deserve every bit of pain and heartache you get from that because you're a stupid motherfucker for believing, for even thinking that. What about black love? The only black love you got is between you and your mother when it comes to a female. That's the only, and that's biology, quite frankly, and chemicals that keeps that shit running. Oh, am I getting black pill on your ass? Is that what's happening? I don't want to hear it. And this is why I was telling Obsidian that shit. I don't want to hear that shit. And the thing about it is not that I don't have good relationships with black females, but understand I take black women on a case-by-case basis. And that is not a bad thing. Like, I don't put all this bullshit. I don't take this red pill shit and just dump it on a random female. Even if a female does some stupid shit, if I don't know, trust me, most of the women that I deal with, like, most of the black women I meet, not all of them, but a lot of them, the relationship didn't start off well. Even asexual situations where it didn't start off well. I can't tell you how many women I've been cussed out by, or they've had a reaction, and not even just because of the posture that I carry. And it's not even necessarily or you don't look like you date black women bullshit. But I don't sit there and just sit in the red pill shit on them and you exactly. No, I don't do that. It's in the background, but it's a case-by-case basis. I give women an opportunity to prove to me who they are, black, white, otherwise. I don't associate positive things with non-black women and negative things with black women. But at the same time, I understand the things behind why black women do what they do. Now, do I have to accept it? Hell no, I don't accept it. Because as far as I'm concerned, being a bitch is being a bitch. I give no fucks about the why. Now, just because I understand the why doesn't mean I'm going to say, okay, it's cool to do that. Niggas, all these memes talk about, yeah, man, it's a black man's job to help the black woman get through her trauma. Nigga, fuck you and fuck that. You're a fucking cuck if you believe that. Because no other race of man has to do that with their woman, and they don't do it with black women. Black women come knowing how to act. All the trauma that black women, the swirlers deal with, shout out to King Sigma and Bottom Shelf Brad, and they put a smile on that shit. Where's the color purple bullshit about dealing with non-black men? Where's the books? You know what we got? We got Lakeview Terrace. That's what we got. We got Lakeview Terrace, where you got the black man interrupting the black and non-black relationship. That's what we got. Lakeview Terrace. The black man is creating, like, people forget about Lakeview Terrace. Lakeview, like, think about, Lakeview Terrace. A black man, a black father slapping shit out his daughter to the point where his daughter, well, you know he did it multiple times because his daughter just ate the shit. You know, Kerry Washington with, I think, what's the dude's name? Luke Wilson. The dude that ended up playing, you know, on the, the scary movies, the Conjuring shit. Oh, yes. Insidious. Oh, yes. People forget about Lakeview Terrace, man. Game changer. You need to do a fucking movie review on Lakeview Terrace. This is the bullshit. And then they carry that shit. Justin March out to the $5 super chat. Son is a hot rod trauma. I can't get my own way, so I'm going to cry and scream about it. Absolutely. And we need to come up with an acronym for trauma. But that's what it is. And they sit there, they will sit there, and they will sit here and come up with these bullshit-ass excuses because they think you're fucking stupid. I'm in deep thought. Bitch, shut up. You're in deep thought. About what? I'm in deep thought about black men getting killed. So the first thing I do is cuss these niggas out and turn my nose up to them. If you don't shut the fuck up with that bullshit. And these are 24, remember, these are 24-year-olds. What's that chick's name? You know, I only remember her name. Is it Cynthia Cooper? Old Yeller. You know, shout out to Poor Man's Podcast for finding her. That was an old nemesis, boy. That's one of them. That's one of the ancient Sith right there. You know, and Deborah Cooper. Like, these are women. These women don't just have these mentalities. You bomb cherry called my mother a crackhead bitch. Like you don't see dudes may be frustrated with black, but you do not see dudes saying all that personal shit. It is not just women as they get old. You got 24-year-olds saying that. Remember the light skin, I don't even remember her name, Janae? This shit is across the board because the common denominator is you. And you accept that because you actually believe, you've actually allowed yourself to believe that your idea of manhood is predicated on that bitch believing in you. And nigga, that's your fault. That is only your fault. And I say it's your fault because you can change it. And when you look at like I mean, Kevin was really being emotional there, and that's a and you know I hope BGS I hope man David Carroll BGS O'Shea I want to hear what O'Shea got to say because the reality is Kevin laid that motherfucker out, and guess what? Kevin's been married twice, so and he said he takes full responsibility of what went wrong in his marriages. So my point is a lot of these motherfuckers ain't married and ain't like they gonna get married. Jason Black, they haven't done the they haven't taken that risk. Kevin's taken it twice. So this ain't coming from a nigga that yo, you can't get a bit. I mean, you see his business. Kevin was a very successful businessman and a businessman that hired a whole black team, including a black woman. And remember what he said. I think he said the first person he hired was a black. So all the receipts are covered. All the receipts are covered. And we know Kevin's thing about telling black men they need to work and all that. All the receipts are covered. And what? So you can't be like, oh, well, you can't. And that's what makes the shit so impactful. That all the bullshit that people, and then you had a black woman that is a trained therapist and she can't even bring herself to say it like what it is. And it was funny because I was like, yo, you're not even giving yourself room to kind of back out. Like when Kevin asked you that question and he asked you about every other race, I said this before, he was like, you just fell right into it. Yes, definitely. You may have paused with certain people with others and then with black, well, it's got to be a reason. No, it's not. You cannot show me why a 21 or 25-year-old female has this type of anger towards black men. Because what trauma are they going through that their grandmother didn't go through in spades? I would love for that therapist to come back on and do a reaction video to the call that happened after she came on. I would love for her to do a reaction to that call that chick talk about we're free and we don't got to deal with you all. I would ask her, little girl, because this is what, you know, the women be telling these younger chicks. Little girl, I got a question for you. What made you come on the fucking show? Why do you interact with black men at all? At all. Like, do you date black men? Well, yeah. Why? Why would you do that to yourself? Why? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why do you date black men? Like, really map that shit out to me. Why? Now we know this is why black men, as Kevin said, gotta be superheroes. These you have to. I want you all to understand something, and I'm jumping around, but any of you all that's listened to me for a while, you all remember maybe months ago when I told you all that you have to sexually turn these women on so much. Look, their default is you ain't shit and they hate you. And it doesn't matter if you got money. Because only Kevin's talking about high value men. And you see the conversations that are elicited even in a only high value men situation. So all that self-improvement shit, I just proved that that's bullshit. Kevin's show is absolute proof that's not true. As far as like as a group, as individuals, obviously you can get deals made. Remember what I told you all. I said that the reason why black women want black men to be at this high level genetically, economically, and everything versus they don't need that from other races of men is because they by default don't like you. So in order to deal with you, you have to you start off at like a -5. versus every other race starts off at probably a positive 2 or 3. Asians probably start off at maybe a -1. And then I would say everybody else starts off, like white men start off at a +5. I'd say Latins, depending on how you look, start, if they're more white looking, we'll say at the scale between 1 to 5, right? And obviously being 6 foot maybe bring you from like a 5 to like a 3. Being buffed out maybe brings you from a 5 to a 1. Because, as David Carroll said, they'll still sleep with you and tell you ain't shit while they fucking you. So what happens is you can get pussy at a -1, but you may not get respect until you get into the positive. And that's why they're like that. And when they stop being as sexually turned on by you, baby, because they've learned you, they want some new dick or whatever, and they get a baby by you, this is where you're compromising and start fucking you over. This is why Ramil has the pump and dump strategy as a protection strategy. These women are not pumped. They grow up that way. They're that way pre-fucking with dudes. Because if you don't have a father in your life, whether you have a fucked up mentality towards men before you ever have sex with black men. You've been imprinted on that shit. So it's not so all that bullshit about what black men are pumping and dumping these women in the trauma, that's a lie. And that's something that black men gotta stop doing. Because black men got to stop trying to pretend like it's all black men's fault while black women have that. That's some cuck shit. It really is. That's not true. That's some blaming the victim shit. But like I said before, they don't like you. They don't. And you see it in how they act in every area of activity to you compared to somebody else. It's funny. They'll treat a white man like they treat him, and the first thing they tell you when you deal with a white woman is you are fucking the woman of the oppressor that raped me. Well, bitch, I would never know it. Bitch, I would never know it the way you smile at the nigga, the motherfucker. The way you show them fucking veneers and white teeth. The way you code switch on some positive shit, I would never know that if I didn't grow up with history that told me that. Think about that. Would you ever believe that white men had a history of raping black women if you didn't learn it in school? The way black women treat white men, even white men they're not sexually attracted to. Remember what I also told you there? I said that how a woman feels about a certain group of men is how they treat the ones that they're not sexually attracted to in that particular group. So this is stuff, a lot of this stuff is coming full circle. See, y'all can say, I'm not married, I'm short, I'm light-skinned, I'm this, I'm that. Y'all don't know how much money I make. Y'all can't say that about Kevin. Y'all can't say that the women don't listen to him. You can't say none of that shit. And them women volunteered to come on, and they could have hung up at any time, but they chose to answer the questions and chose to struggle through the questions. That's some shit you not gonna get on fucking TV. Even on Yvonne Van Zam shit. And to be completely honest, in my opinion, Yvonne Van Zam should be proud that show was done in her name. Because that is some shit that even she could not do. Not because she's not capable, but because that show would not allow her to do it. Like her show, the TV would not allow her to do that. So honestly, that's some real shit. I would love for I would love for a panel of Yvonne Van Zam and Shahrazad Ali to react to that video. I would love to see that shit. Sister Soldier too, because Sister Soldier doesn't get talked about enough. And she's another one that was definitely on the team. She doesn't get talked about enough. She really doesn't. She deserves to be talked about with Shahrazad Ali. I would still probably, I'm not even going to rank them. She deserves to be in those conversations. Because she did. Appreciate that dollar watch in order. For an organism to survive and thrive, it takes all his best attributes and applies them the best way possible. Black people reverse engineer process, legacy, culture. Absolutely. Absolutely. And so I'm telling y'all, a lot of this shit is shit I talked about, and it was encapsulated in that video. When King Sigma says they're not your women, that show should be retitled, They're Not Your Women. Prove me wrong. And I want black women to say that. Because black men need. I want black women to tell black men in no uncertain words, we're not your women. Because that's what it's gonna take for a lot of black men to wake the fuck up. That's what it's gonna take. And a lot of, and I understand, a lot of dudes are not gonna be able to. I'm gonna tell you right now, I know a lot of black men are gonna crack under that. I know a lot of black men are gonna crack under that. I don't give a fuck. Because I don't, I'm telling you right now, I'd rather sacrifice some for the truth than than sacrifice everybody living a lie. If you can't handle it, stay out the fucking kitchen. That's how I feel about that. And see, I didn't want to say that to BMT right then, but that's my personal feelings on that shit, man. Like, for real. I'm not on some, well, we're going to lie because people can't handle it. Fuck that bullshit. The hell with that. The hell with that. That's why I was like, that's a low fucking blow. Hold on 1 second. All right. Appreciate there. I said it. Hurricane Ed. I don't think black women dislike, but it's a default disrespect. Not receive default. The black men who demand respect are disliked. No, man. I get what you try. I get what you're saying, but I still stand by what I said because it's deeper than what you're talking about. See, man, you got to examine. It's not a default disrespect. It's a default disrespect only targeted at you. Anyway, let's go through the comments because I'm not trying to be on here forever. Let's see. Let's go through all these. What's up again? Pharaoh, Kevin Lukeman. If there's any cash apps, let me see. Edward Allen 100K ALLEN 100K. Let me see if there's any cash apps before I got some shit to do. I always got shit to do. What time is it? All right. Fucking lawn is growing like a motherfucker. All right, so I'm good. Appreciate all the support. So let's go through it. Kevin Lukeman, that last Kevin Samuel post was heavy. It was heavy, but it's necessary. I know what black people avoid this shit because this shit is painful. Kevin Lukeman, do you think the last Kevin Samuel post was a major turning point? I mean, not really. I mean, it's definitely something that it's a good jolt. But and it's definitely, I think, a video that I think a lot of dudes need to reference. But I mean, I don't think it's like a magical turning point for everybody, no. But it definitely is a point in the right direction. That conversation needs to be, no, a turning point would be black women telling black men how they really feel straight like that. Because you got to let these dudes go. Because the truth is, there's nothing that black men can do to fix it. Kevin said that women got to fix other women are not going to fix other women. They're not. They're not. Point blank, period. By the time they start, it's too late. It's going to be way too late. It's going to be like these chicks are not going to get a clue until the alpha generation. And it's too late at that point. It's just way too late at that point. So me personally, that's not going to happen. And BGS, I think, concurs with that assessment. If it's up to black, the only way that this shit is going to change is you would have to have multiple COVID active gods. And no, I'm not hoping for that. Jim Rat said, I seen in the stream from last night, a lot of black men in Kevin's comment section were saying they're shocked and we're on our own. They're like, if you're shocked, you're fucking dumb. If you're like, okay, here's what remember they said in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where Isaiah Bradley's character, if you all saw that last episode, said if you're not bitter, you're blind. If you're shocked, you're blind. It's like racism still exists in 2021. That shit, like anybody that says that shit, you automatically know where they are as far as information. They're a low information person. They just take in what they see immediately in the news and nothing else. That's a blue pill sheep. That's somebody that wants to pretend that the shit ain't really there when it's there, and then they have this natural reaction when they see it. That's that why can't we all get along bullshit. That's that why can't black people just come together. But these people don't really care about what the real problem is. They're not interested in really solving it. Talk about you weren't shocked. Like how, I mean, you don't need to be in the manosphere to be that. Jim Rat, most black men refuse to accept black women are women. Yeah, they do refuse to accept that, and that's why they're accountable to this. That's why they're accountable for these outcomes. And that's why I wish that they would just shut the fuck up and just cuck themselves and be done with it already. Because that's essentially what they do. Kevin Lukeman says, when all the smoke is clear, what's your prediction of the state of black love for the 5 years? It's over. Because these Z's don't believe in black love. In 45 years, the Z's are going to be 27, 28. They don't believe in black love. That's your clock. That's your doomsday clock. They don't believe in black love. So you just have to look at the Z's as they get older. You'll see that rapidly fade. TX Calibros, and you're gonna see more and more light skinned women, colorism, all that shit. TX Calibros, what black women fail to realize is that now that their irrational hatred of black men is full playful world of the racist women to see capital. Absolutely, that's the thing, and that's the only thing that's really kept it in check. The only thing that has truly kept black women in check is this idea that other groups of women, because of the natural, because of like the natural, remember the term that I came up with, y'all? I called it genetic gentrification. I'm gonna bring that term. I told y'all, motherfuckers, I got exclusive terms that are only unique to me that y'all ain't heard nowhere else. And when I year ago commercials, way before they started showing these in and non-black women, and now sell certain products. And these are not like, notice how these black men are not these, quote unquote, beautiful black men. They're not designed to appeal just to black women. And once that switches, that's the only, it's game over at that point. It's game over. It's game over. Because you're not going to be able to stop that. Because all the crying, whining, all that, they know black people are still going to do what they do as far as buying products and services. But that's genetic gentrification. The tax bills millennial women are going to pay as well. It is going to be paid. And I feel bad for them. But some of these, especially the women the first 5 years, because those are going to be the dumbest ones because they're still going to be operating on millennial programming. And their mothers were Xers. So they don't know nothing else. They don't know nothing else. But so the buzzsaw they go hit is brutal. The Z's ain't having it. I'm at Planet Fitness. Me and most younger black men here that are with, yeah, they're not playing. And all they're gonna be doing is they're gonna be doing like what Jessica Light does. They're gonna be coming to us talking about why. I'm talking about you need to ask them. That's why a lot of y'all younger dudes need to create channels. Y'all need to ask them. Don't ask me. I don't give a fuck. What about color? I don't give a fuck. That's between you and your guys down there. That's what that's between. Um, what's up, good man? It's Caliber. Gotta purge that romanticism. They do gotta purge. They do gotta purge that romanticism. Like, and all that is a mommy complex. That's a mommy complex. That's a form of niggas not being able to cut the umbilical cord. It really is, for the most part. They gonna be crying emotional. I'm past Karen Charles when that inference is, man, Kevin put black men on blast last night. Ain't nowhere to hide the issue. No, it ain't nowhere to hide. And it is on black men. Because what black men do is I keep doing the same thing over and over, I'm gonna get a different result. And y'all deserve what comes out of that. Genuine trucker. Ray Stone, yeah, that trauma goes away when they deal with exactly. And here's the thing: it's not that when they deal with non-black women. Notice how quiet, and O'Shea's covered this. Notice how quiet black women, and King Sigma and Professor Black Truth has covered this. Notice how black women like hide and sweep what happened to them and white men under the table. Notice how they do that. They sweep all that trauma under the table. Look, think about it. Like, what happened with that white player that beat up that black woman? That beat her half to death to the Seattle Seahawks player. Do you realize that we would still be talking about this like today? That shit would never end. But what happened? That shit was just a news cycle. That shit got talked about for 2 weeks and that's it. When white people harm black women, when white men harm black women, nobody gives a fuck. And because black women do everything they can to try to cover that shit up. Jim Rat, a black female therapist. What? And I wanted there are black female therapists. Shout out to Butterfly Shauna. I would love to hear Butterfly Shauna reaction because she seemed like she's half and half when it comes to Kevin Samuels. But the thing about, I'm glad a therapist got pulled their ass out there because a lot of these therapists, most of these black therapists are not willing to go where actually needs to be gone to actually fix this shit. They like to talk about this shit. That other chick, that last chick, talk about there's not enough therapists underserved. She was just throwing shit at the wall. Not the therapist, but the caller after that. She was just throwing bullshit at the wall. And then when she wanted to say, like, Janae does it, oh, well, you're just ugly. Like, they get this thing where they just say, fuck it, and they say how they really feel. That's the real you. And that's how I know you're a two-faced bitch. Y'all put up these masks and y'all take the mask off, and y'all act like dudes ain't never seen that before. We know what it is. Oh, well, we're free from y'all. And I'm like, okay, well, if you're free from us, what the fuck are you asking us for anything for? Why do you ask for protection? Why do you ask? And think about it. That's a 24-year-old talking to a 51-year-old. Kevin is old enough to be the father of these people. I want you all to understand something. This is the same gap that BGS has with his kids. Think about that. Y'all need to, like seriously. Think about that. And you're looking at the person you're talking to. It ain't like you can't see it. Like, this is how, like, wild these people are. May Barbara, we can't force a woman to be psychoanalyzed. Genuine target. The disrespect is obviously blatant. They get real TV when the pink man is around. Absolutely, it's TV. That's funny. I'm very TV. Prue says those black men in Kevin's comment section saying that they were hurt, expose themselves and stuff. They are. They are. And you don't always have to be bitch made, but in that moment, like, I'm shocked. I'm hurt. Then fuck you, nigga. Nigga, you a black man in America. That's your fault. And that's why when motherfuckers like, I'm gonna care. I'm gonna tell you straight up. I don't care. If that delusion, if fixing a delusion is that painful for some of y'all niggas need to just, and look, I'm gonna tell you, I know black men that I've worked with and stuff, I would never show them this shit. Some of them are married, but I wouldn't show them this shit because, well, first of all, they're married, so it's irrelevant, but also I know they can't handle it. I know dudes that are in depression that on my man. That's why it's one of the reasons I created a separate channel. Because I know they can't handle it. The truth is that painful for some black people. And that tells you everything you need to know about how serious it is about us getting, like how impossible it's supposed to get out of this. The book, Daughters of the Trade, yeah, it did pretty much show you. Short guys for tall, not really. I don't climb trees. I don't climb trees, man. I know that's what they call it. Justin Martin, widen the CC long-term leads to PTSD. Well, I didn't even talk about the cock carousel. I'm more meant, yeah, it does. It does. And that's the trauma. And that's another thing. Think about it. These whole phases cause them trauma too. But what do? They will actively promote that. A lot of things that cause women trauma, they actively promote to the next generation. But then they come to you about their attitude and they want to blame that all on men. Some girls look good with weight, some don't, just body type. Yes and no. Yes and no. I think yes and no. Yes and no. I think black people take it way too much on the gain weight. Like, see, what we don't talk about in the black community is how black women get pregnant. A lot of black women will get pregnant and abort a kid in order to trigger a hormone reaction in their body. They also will take birth control to trigger a hormonal reaction. It's really insane when you look at what a lot of these females do, rather than actually doing body development and learning how to develop their body. There's a right way to gain weight and a wrong way. A lot of females have gained weight by learning how to build muscle in the right places and allowing that to reset their foundation, no body type. But see, black women are too fucking lazy to do that. Hey, good for you, Taco Bell dog. I mean, I'm 5'6", my girl. Hey, good for you. I couldn't do it, and then I couldn't do it. It was. And see, y'all lucky SYSBM isn't as vocal as they used to be. They've kind of quieted down a little bit. Oh, you said Surviving Chad Wheeler movie coming out next year. Are you serious or you just playing? A bunch of crybabies? Absolutely. Nurse and nerd. And this is why I say that black women that are on the team, and when I say on the team, I mean the team black men, they deserve to be overprotected, and black women, like we have a finite protection resource, finite protection bandwidth. That does not need to be wasted on women that they harbor these feelings. It doesn't. It doesn't. What's up, Grinch? It doesn't. And dudes, and that's the biggest issue I have with a lot of these dudes, is a lot of these dudes, they're wasting protection bandwidth. They're taking protection bandwidth from females that are on team black men by dealing with women, by trying to help women that hate black men or have trauma. That's a waste of energy. That's a waste of time. You're not gonna save them. This idea, like even think about it. Take remember O'Shea did a video about Monique and two couple of videos. And Monique has lost weight, a lot of bullshit, right? Since the Netflix thing. And Monique said that why she calls her husband her husband daddy. And she said because he's my daddy. Because he puts up with my attitude and all of that like a therapist. No. Nigga, you're stupid. And then you got the bitch when she was fat. Whatever. Then she said that I can cheat on him, but he can't cheat on me. Make that make sense. Make that make sense. Mary J. Blige had a similar relationship with her husband. Because a lot of what, when she was talking about that no more pain and all that bullshit, a lot of that, a lot of her business deals, her husband helped put together. As to why she became her own like independent label and all of that. That's why he used alimony as a way to get resources out of her, because he said, you gonna pay me. You gonna pay me one way or the other. And which I understand why he made that move. And everybody was clowning him for that. But going back to Monique, that's the mentality. That's that gynocracy shit. They want you to put up with their bullshit, but then they want to run you like they got bigger nuts. And that's you volunteer for that. You choose that. We can't say, well, the women choose the dick and all of the shit that traumatize. No, you choose that too. And so when these niggas, and you see it because they always arguing with us, talk about people too red pill, people too this, people too that. No, it's about choosing to deal with your self-respect. Like I keep telling y'all, 20% are, 80% is variable degrees that are not. And what you saw with that show was the variable degrees. You saw like the woman that she's kind of on the team, but she's not gonna be on the team so much. Like the therapist, she's not gonna be on the team so much that she's gonna take bullets for black men by other black women. There's variables to that. There's levels to that. Yeah, I'm not mentioning Bomb no more because honestly, anybody that puts her on her platform is over. I think she was on Fantastic's platform on some fucking sex shit, but she needs to be banned from the sphere. She has nothing to contribute. Like honestly, you got women like the Nurse and Nerd has got channels they trying to build. Clearly that she's married with a black man, all that. I mean, we got women we got women we can pull up. They got actually some shit they can get. They got shit they can contribute. Professor Black Truth said them complaining is sport. It is a sport. Even if you rich, they said nope. Strange, yep. I told you that's one thing about Kevin said he was a nurse and nerd. See, it's one thing for us to talk shit in this space, but when you hear it out of their own mouth, it's a lot more powerful, isn't it? Cool flip with humans on Earth and DJ Kid. Black men were logical, they would know it doesn't make sense. And I'm not here to say hot and date outside your race. You can do intercultural dating. I'm saying is you black men, you have ceded your power of choice. And as a result, you all have allowed women to be this way for you. And then you got women. Think about it. How is your women telling you that you got to be like basically a fucking NBA or football player and have Dan and doctor money, but you got black men arguing with me about a bitch can be 180 pounds? Like, do you not understand how fucking retarded that is? And you niggas will actually argue with me, talk about, well, it's preference, it's this, it's that. You notice how you don't never hear that argument amongst women. Trying to check each other. We're called pit me too much. No, absolutely, nurse nerd. And I'm gonna tell you, I don't tell women to do that. Now, do I believe that would help? Yes. But the thing about it is, it's like this. Black men have to push the envelope as far as the what they call it, the battle line. They have to push the battle line and establish bases of operations and stuff. But they can't expect women to be fighting on the front lines. They just can't. Now, if women volunteer to do that, I will applaud them for that, but I'm not going to encourage it. Like, women like Love Dorsey, women like fucking Avery Will, I'm not going to encourage, because the reality is I don't think people understand what you're asking when you ask that. I don't think you understand how cracked that these females actually will react more violently to other women than they do men. So when people say that, no, this is where we can have the protection conversation. These women don't speak out more because they don't believe that, I'm not talking about your individual man, but they don't believe that black men as a group will protect them against other black women. And those black women are correct. You are correct. Black men are not capable. Most black men are not capable of protecting you against other black women, because most black men are not capable of discerning between a good black woman and a bad black woman. They don't know the difference between a black woman that's on the team and one that is not. What if two black women are fighting, most of the time them niggas are gonna look, because they're not gonna know what to do. And if they do interfere, they're gonna try to make it like it's both of y'all fault. So yes, that is completely legit as a protection point. And women will never say that, because I won't say it's not your place to say it, it's our place to know. And that's part of being on a black man's team. But if black men say, well, why don't more women speak out? It's because they don't feel like they'll be protected against other black women. And they're right. They're right. So the work is for black men to push this envelope, and I'll prove it. When you look at Kevin, and when have you seen black women start speaking out more about this, like as a little bit, as a small group? It's when Kevin started taking all the arrows. So now women are like, I'm backing him up and giving him credibility because I believe in what he's talking about. Like I agree with what he's talking about. What he's saying is right. And you have women talk about, well, I got engaged. He saved my marriage. He really helped me. Women that definitely support his show, because more women agree with what he's saying than don't agree. That's why they share his show offline. That is a part of them getting involved. They say, okay, I can get behind what he's saying, and then I can kind of look, he said it, these women say it. Do you really want to be like, so now a female is like, okay, do you really want to be like those females that's talking all this shit? Is that really what you want to aspire to be? And you see it over and over and over. But men, I'm going to just say it like this. Men are looking for women to lead them in dealing with other women. So yes, women will have to deal with other women, but that doesn't mean that men can't force be like in the forefront of that. And then women take those conversations and kind of take them out of it and have those conversations. Even if you're having it with other women that are married that don't have these problems, so it creates an awareness. Because women that are married need to stick with each other. Women that are on team black men need to start aggregating and sticking with each other. But it's on black men to basically do that. And see, a lot of these niggas that like to talk about protection, you notice they'll never say that. That will never come out of their mouth, because they don't even know really what protection really is. They believe protection is what them bitches say it is, which is basically protect me from the fact that I hate myself. No, most of the men in Kevin Samuels' stream are not red pill, Sir Anthony. Because think about it, Kevin believes in marriage. Appreciate Son is a hot rod. The reality is black men across the globe has had enough of black women's behavior. That's why these conversations are happening among us. Black women are panicking because, well, they're not panicking yet. Like, you'll know, like, when you start to see the Civil War, when that gets instigated between black women and other black women, when black women feel comfortable to really going at the image and stuff, and that's gonna only happen when they feel like they black men got their back, and they can do it from a place that's not gonna have them sacrifice their femininity because they're constantly dealing with the hordes. Then that's when you know and that's if we ever get there, because we're on the clock. Because think about it, it's much like, why would somebody like Nursing, why would they go out of their way and talk to random bitches on the internet that want to believe what they want to believe? Women usually come to the conclusion, look, I know how to deal with black men. All they're doing is making them appreciate me more. That's all that is. These women are helping me low key. Now, I'm not saying that I wanted to be that way, but I benefit, So I just got to do me. Why am I? It's not my responsibility to take that burden. That's not my responsibility. And it's not. Her responsibility is to her husband. That's it. Her responsibility is not to be worried. And then she's got women around her that operate this way too. That's like to the extent of it. Because the women I know that are like that. Their responsibility is not to correct other women. I mean, Kevin has said that too. Your responsibility is not to sit there and correct all these other women and say these other women. And this is why men have had to step up and do it. The problem is we have other men that want to run interference because they're fucking cuckoldry. And you think us late millennial black men will wake up? Well, late millennial black men, yeah, I do. I do. Y'all will. Y'all will, because y'all are kind of more like the Z. So yes, I do. NFL great Two's black dog. Yep, I know that B was just murdered. Yep. And black and swirlers aren't talking. They're not gonna talk about that. They're gonna cover all that shit up. And that's some insidious shit. No, I mean it's enough comments. There's no point joining his channel for the purpose of commenting in the chat. It's too many comments. Everybody wants to comment after the fact. Oh, okay, you're joking. Yeah, yeah. I didn't know. Oh shit, I gotta hold on. I gotta screenshot that. You said he's trending on Twitter. Yeah. Look, man. The Donald Trump School of Marketing. The Donald Trump School of Marketing. The more he's talked about, the bigger he's gonna get. It's a beautiful thing. It doesn't matter. These niggas, see, Kevin's at a point now. Kevin's got more supporters than he doesn't. All that dissing, because the thing is, you have to beat the argument. You have to be, and they can't beat it. They can't beat the argument. They can't. They can't beat the argument. So they're going to make it about him. And the thing is, people have real problems now. That COVID has exposed that. I'm checking that out as soon as I'm done. Yeah, exactly. Shahrazad Ali is a perfect example. And black men don't understand that. That's how I know a lot of these niggas are bullshitting when they talk about protection. Because they're bullshitting when they say that. And that's why I respond the way I respond. Why do you think most black kids don't like their dads? Where do you think they get that from? And they always want to come back to he wasn't there. If he ain't there, if you are not married, then you don't have a right to say that. Now, even black women that are married be on some bullshit. But if you're not, at least if you're married, I will hear you out. If you're not married, you have no right to say he's not there. Because at that point, you cannot tell me that you had that kid because you wanted it, not because you wanted a father, period. But see, we don't want to deal with that. Tariq, oh, that's retarded. He said Kevin's trending. Yeah, I'm about to go look that up. Dude, you're to Return of the Black Kings. You all know in my channel, don't go red pill for black women to remain blue pill for black women. I mean, non-black women. Don't go red pill for black women to remain blue pill for non-black women. So you know all these bitches have plays that they run. So, but let's be clear here. The shit that we deal with in the black community is fucking unique. That is some fucking unique shit. And black men need to stop playing that every woman is the same. I'm not saying that they're not bullshit everywhere. But the shit we deal with is some unique shit. It is some unique shit amongst the diaspora. The diaspora. It is some unique shit. And black men need to start recognizing that and stop playing that all women are the same. All women don't do this shit at the scale that you're talking about. They just don't. And a lot of that is black men just not wanting to be real about it. This is why I can talk about the gynocracy and then I can kind of not be not be upset about it. Because I know a lot of you niggas invested it. This is on y'all. Y'all accept it. Y'all volunteer for it every day. A lot of y'all. And it's not about being with a black woman. It's about what you all choose to allow them to deal with you. Like, I don't, man, please. I don't have this issue with black women not smiling at me. I told you, I just talked to a sister the other day. You know, like I remember Angry Man was talking, he was getting mad at me because I told him black women don't not smile at me at the fast food restaurant. Popeyes, it depends. Chick-fil-A, yeah, they gonna be on Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, they gonna be on them. But I don't have that problem. I really don't. Because I treat people how I'm treated. And I treat people like with respect first, then I get it. And I'm not looking for it like that. But quite frankly, I don't got women mean mugging me. If I ask them for some more jelly or hot sauce, I get it. And they ain't giving me no attitude. But he disagreed with that. Okay. Yeah, I saw that. Will C. He gave props to the Negro Manosphere blog, and he gave props to O'Shea, which is different from the Manosphere, but I get it, and that was smart. That was smart. That was smart that he did that. He even mentioned the Lions Den, but that was a great podcast. All y'all should see that. All y'all should see that podcast with Joe Button because it was a good podcast. It was a good podcast. Kevin Samuels does a good job in like the House of Representatives. He really does. I don't ask women. Well, first, yeah, you right. You right, Real IR. That's one thing I will say. I don't ask women to smile. I don't. I've never asked. I have never asked a woman to smile. And I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't. Me personally, I don't know why people would ask that, unless you're in a situation where your coach comes. A woman to smile is if I'm saying like if I'm looking at, let's say I'm coaching her on social media and shit, and I'm observing that as a problem, then yeah, I that's the closest I would say to that. But I'm not. But I've never asked. I've never. I'm gonna tell you, smile. And a lot of the excuses that they give are excuses that are actually very true for me. But it is what it is. But it is what it is. I don't take offense to it. JoJo K, appreciate that. JoJo K, appreciate that. Yeah, I mean I can understand why brothers do that, but I don't, and I would tell dudes not to do that. All right. So yeah, with that being said, I appreciate you signing off. Peace.